So I'm convinced that Twitch just doesn't want to exist. I'm not sure if it's just out of touch corporate managers or if someone is intentionally trying to push the worst possible policies so that the company fails. It's almost comical at this point. I don't think they've made a non-controversial update in the last few years, and this one was a doozy. Basically, it seems like they wanted to make it really hard for streamers to get sponsorships on their own in order to force them to go through Twitch. Let's just say the community outcry was immense, and now they've backed down though. So let's talk about this mess. Basically, if you've ever watched a Twitch stream, you'll notice that there's often little graphics on screen, whether it's a static image or a little animated thingamabob. Most of the big streamers, and even a lot of small streamers, have these. They're on screen because the streamer has a sponsorship deal with some company, and that deal requires them to have something on screen promoting the brand. There's other sorts of sponsorships, but for the average streamer, this is the most common type. Well, Twitch decided that with no communication to any streamers, they were just going to update their policies in order to basically ban that and other common sponsorship stuff. So let's take a look at their own graphics to see what would and wouldn't be allowed. Firstly, they banned any on-stream overlays bigger than 3% of the screen size. Interestingly, in this graphic, as far as I can tell, the little icon they've used to show what is allowed seems to actually be slightly bigger than 3% of that graphic. So, well, good job guys, I guess. This change would effectively remove the most common type of Twitch sponsorship, but it doesn't stop there. They also wanted to ban burned-in video ads. Basically, ads that creators play on their streams. So like, let's say you have a sponsorship for a gaming mouse company. Sometimes they'll provide a streamer with a couple seconds of ad footage that a streamer will play, usually at the start and end of a stream, or during transitions. This is just as common as screen overlays. I'm sure you've seen them before. On top of that, they've also wanted to ban burned-in display ads. Basically, those little banner ads that every mid to large size streamer has somewhere on screen at virtually all times, showcasing whatever new stuff their sponsor has asked them to. And finally, they also banned audio ads, which were kind of rarer than the other types, but I guess would basically be a sound clip that's promoting something for a brand. All of these things combined make up the majority of all the things that companies want from streamers. With those things banned, the vast majority of sponsorship agreements would be impossible for the streamers to fulfill, and would probably not just result in a loss of revenue, but also probably some lawsuits. Cause suddenly these creators aren't holding up their side to the bargain, which they're contractually obliged to do. So yeah, it's an understatement to say that this would really screw creators. Don't worry though, they were nice enough to put together a list of sponsorship things that you're still allowed to do, like having a branded panel, which a lot of sponsors like, but certainly is not something they're typically willing to pay a lot for. They were also okay with you showcasing products in your stream background, which I mean, I'd hope they'd be. Since most streamers stream from their homes, how could Twitch possibly know if you're sponsored by the gamer slop that you have in a pile in the background of your stream, or if you're just really addicted to the new flavor? They certainly couldn't. Also, they're okay with shilling links to promote things, which I honestly find to be the worst and most spammy type of sponsorship. And finally, out of the kindness of their hearts, they were willing to allow you to discuss, endorse, and unbox products and services, as well as play sponsored games, which yeah, it'd be kind of hard to do any gaming sponsorship without discussing the game, endorsing the game, or playing the game. So interesting that they listed those as things they were allowing people to do. The fact that those things were singled out tells me that they were probably toying with the idea of outright banning those things too. But why would Twitch do this? Well, to be honest, it's kind of an easy reason to figure out. Money. Money makes the world go round, and Twitch has historically lost money pretty much forever. Since the departure of their longtime CEO recently, they've been kind of trying to optimize their cash flow. First, they were pushing ads hardcore. Then they decided they were going to force all creators down to a 50-50 revenue split. And now they want to ban the most common type of sponsorships. Most likely because they want to offer sponsorships through Twitch rather than allowing the creators to pursue sponsorships on their own. If a streamer gets their own sponsorship, the money goes to the creator and their team. If Twitch can force sponsorships to go through their ecosystem, they can skim a little bit of money off the top. To be honest, I can see why they'd want to do this. It's potentially tens of millions of dollars in revenue every year that they are missing out on. But unfortunately for them, targeting this revenue stream would decimate their creator population. You see, Twitch has a lot more competitors now than they've ever really had to deal with. For a long time, it was just YouTube, who never really pursues streaming, and Mixer competing with Twitch for the live stream market. Mixer went out of business, and YouTube never really invests a lot of effort into live streaming, which I honestly think is to avoid the government seeing them as too monopolistic and starting antitrust action against them. So basically, there there was no competition for Twitch. But now, in the past couple months, we have seen the rise of Kick, which has grown massively since its start due to a high revenue split and large creators endorsing the site. On top of that, Rumble has entered the live streaming market, getting iShowSpeed and Kai Cenat, two of the biggest streamers, one from YouTube and one from Twitch, to exclusively stream a joint show on Rumble. Then, going on to sign Mizkif as well. So right now, it's kind of a terrible time for Twitch to incentivize people to leave the platform, because odds are that they'll be able to find a home on another site, whether that's YouTube, Kick, or Rumble. And when this policy change was announced, a lot, and I mean a lot, of streamers said that they would be moving to other platforms. Even OTK, one of the biggest streamer orgs on Twitch, said that if this policy went through as announced, that they would be leaving Twitch. There was such an outcry that I think genuinely a lot of streamers, even now that Twitch has backtracked, might start looking for a new site to stream on. One with stable rules and a company that knows how to actually run itself in any direction except into the ground. And Twitch's backtrack was weak too, split into a couple of tweets for no real reason except probably to disincentivize people from reading the latter tweets. Twitch said, "Today's branded content policy update was overly broad. This created confusion and frustration, and we apologize for that." Followed by, "We do not intend to limit streamers' ability to enter into direct relationships with sponsors, and we understand that this is an important part of how streamers earn revenue. Then, we wanted to clarify our existing ads policy that was intended to prohibit third-party ad networks from selling burned-in video and display ads on Twitch, which is consistent with other services. And finally, we missed the mark with the policy language and will rewrite the guidelines to be clearer. Thank you for sharing your concerns, and we appreciate the feedback. We'll notify the community once we have updated the language." Which is a crazy response to this whole thing. It seems like they're basically trying to gaslight people into thinking that they were not trying to limit how streamers' sponsorships work, and that this was entirely something geared towards third-party ad agencies that used overly broad language. Except it didn't use overly broad language. It was incredibly specific as to what would and wouldn't be allowed, including images that Twitch themselves produced. That's not broad. That's literally as specific as it can get. As for the third-party ad agencies bit, I don't think that's really consistent with what they put out either. For instance, the limit of 3% of the screen space isn't really something that an ad agency could directly control. The size of ads in relation to the actual resolution of the stream is entirely in control of the streamer and not a third-party company. So yeah, what I think happened was that all the big wigs all thought that this was a great idea because they could force the plebs into taking sponsorships through Twitch, which obviously would meet all the guidelines Twitch laid out, or maybe even be given exceptions from the rules down the line, and create a huge revenue stream for Twitch. Of course, like always, the people at Twitch were completely out of touch, and the community hated this. The community was more outraged at this than they have been at literally anything I've ever seen Twitch streamers get mad at. They were more mad at this than when Twitch decided to arbitrarily lower their revenue splits to 50-50. The outcry was immense and started to garner some attention from news outlets. So Twitch hit the panic button, and instead of admitting that they made a big mistake, they decided to cover themselves and say that no, actually, it was the community who was wrong and they just didn't understand what we were doing. It's a mess. Twitch is a mess. I've been saying it for a long time now, but this time they really proved me right. Do you think that this is going to be what ends Twitch's dominance in the live streaming market? Do you think that even now that they've backtracked, we will see Twitch streamers leaving for other platforms? As Twitch obviously is not a stable income source if they're going to make these kinds of sweeping changes without even anticipating the consequences. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. That's all I've got today, so thank you for watching till the end. Please consider subscribing. It really helps me out. Have a great day, and God bless you.